Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi to Sir Khalid and Dr. Nazri. My name is Muhammad Afiq Bin Azman, and today I will present about my bachelor degree project 2, which the title is Design and Development of Pulverized Stamping Die. My name is Muhammad Afiq Bin Azman, and I am supervised by my supervisor, which is Hassan bin Azman. So, on this slide, I will talk about the introduction, which consists of the background, problem statement, objective, and scope of research. And the literature review will consist about the concept of design, concept of embossing, concept of dies, material used for die, types of die, method of die, usefulness of dies, and punches. And on the methodology, I will talk about the research design, analysis on the study, product design development, 3D modeling drawing, and machining process. And for the result analysis, I will talk about the 3D printing machine, feather mode and effect analysis, FMEA, design analysis, and software analysis. And the last one is the conclusion. Okay, now we go to the introduction. So I will talk about the background of my title, which is about the design and development of gold bracelet stamping die. So as we know, metal stamping is a cold forming process that makes use of dies and stamping presses to transform sheet metal into different shape. So, in applicable to my title, I will use the stamping die to to make to make the design of the gold bracelet by produce the stamping die. The second one is about the problem statement. So as we know, any gold manufacturer facing this problem, which is to create the stamping die for the gold bracelet, which take are high market prices. So the making of the tool is will be costly. So in this project, I will try to develop and design the suitable and the cost effectiveness on producing the stamping die. And then the fourth one is the objective. So the objective for my project is to study and analyze the properties of gold and the material to make the stamping die. And the second one is to design and develop drawing. And the last one is to produce a prototype design of a gold bracelet stamping die. And the scope of research includes to develop the most suitable stamping die tool, to design a proper detailed drawing, and to figure the most suitable type of material to make the stamping die. Okay, next we go to the literature review. So the literature review, I will talk about the concept of design, factor that is needed to make the stamping die, which consists of concept of the design, concept of embossing, concept of dies, material used for die, types of dies, and method of die. So the first one is a concept of design. So design is actually is a important factor to make sure we want to make a product. Without a design, there will be no product or no result. Okay, next is the concept of embossing. As you know that my title project is design and development of the stamping die. So in the stamping die, the factor that need to be included to make a stamping die is to know how to emboss the product itself. And the third one is the concept of dies. So it is important to know the concept that what material that we use to make the dies, and how the dies is rigid and can be reusable shape to give form to the workpiece. And the fourth one is the material used for die. So it is important factor to know and to study the properties, the mechanical properties to make the stamping die. So because different material can be used to make die or stamp based on the product. So the fifth one is about the types of dies. So dies are grouped based on their different functionalities. So different dies have their different functionalities. And the last one is the method of die. So there are many ways to there are many ways, or there are many machining process that we can produce the die, such as by using a conventional milling or CNC milling or turning, or many process that we can include in producing the dies. Okay, so next we go to the methodology. So the methodology, I will talk about the research design, how the project process flowchart, the analysis on the study, the product design development, the 3D model drawing, and the machining process. Okay, so now this is my research design, the process flowchart of the design. So it start with the start and go through to the methodology research, and next to the design creation and to the material selection, step file where we use on the 3D printing machine, and then generate the G code, and proceed to fabrication, and last one is by the last step, which is surface finish. Okay, what that we study on the properties. So to produce stamping die, we need to know the mechanical properties. So in this slide, as you can see, is the left one is the picture of a gold mechanical properties, and the right one is the carbon steel mechanical properties. Carbon steel material is used to make the stamping die. Okay, next is the carbon steel properties. So as you can see, this is the type of carbon steel, which are consist of low carbon steel, medium carbon steel, and high carbon steel. Each of these carbon steel have their own content of carbon and their own properties. Okay, next we go to the carbon steel properties also. This is the comparison. The table shows the comparison of the properties and the application of the different grades that is used on manufacturing. Okay, next, when we try to uh, do or produce the stamping die, so we need to know the punching force to produce the product itself. So this is the punching force calculation formula that we need to include, which is the perimeter, the thickness, and we also need to know the shear strength of the material that we use. Okay, so for the product design development, me myself use house of quality tool to determine the best design to make for the gold bracelet, because gold bracelet there are many types of gold bracelet, which consist of bangle bracelet, chain bracelet, tennis bracelet, cuff bracelet, designer bracelet, charm bracelet, and many more. So by using this tool, house of quality, based on the technical requirement that is needed to produce the stamping die, so I can determine what type of the design that I want to produce. So as you can see, the charm bracelet has the high rating mark based on the house of quality, and this is a one at the right. As you can see in the picture, this is the one of the sample, the charm bracelet. Okay, next we go on the 3D modeling drawing. So after we already use the house of quality tool, we already determine what type of bracelet that we use, that we want to produce. So we move to the drawing, which is the 3D modeling drawing. So first of all is to produce, is to draw the product itself. Then after we already design the product, then we can use by using this SolidWorks software, we can use the SolidWorks mold tools to create the die. This is consists of upper die and this is the lower die. So next we go to the machining process. So for the machining process, to create the prototype of the stamping die, me myself use 3D printing machine to create the stamping die. So first one is to generate the G code by using the Ultimaker Chura software. Next, after we already generate the G code, then we can choose the parameter setup for the material that we use, and we can set the quality of the parameter setup. And as you can see on the right side, you can see the simulation process and the time estimation on to making the prototype design, and the time taken it takes, the how many uh, how many material it use and how long it use the filament. Okay, so as you can see, this is the step-by-step process of the machining, 3D printing machining. So first is to set on the connect the power cable to the printer, to the switch, and then is to insert the SD card into the card slot, which is consists of the G code that we generate earlier. And then next we go to the load filament. We must make sure that the filament is hot and ready to use. And then after we already hot the filament, then the oil filament will push out from the nozzle, as you can see on the last picture. Wait until the new filament flow out the nozzle and clear the extruded filament from the nozzle. And then next one is to adjust the level of the bed. You must make sure that the nozzle is setting to the auto home. And the next process is to disable the steppers, so we can make the balancing on the nozzle on the bed, so the process of the printing went smoothly. And after that, print press print from TF, where we call our program that generate the G code. And the last one is when after you finishing the printing, you can take up the filament, the product, and clean up the filament residues on the nozzle and the bed. Okay, that's all for the 3D printing machining setup. So next we go to the result and discussion. So on the discussion, I will talk about the 3D printing, the result from the 3D printing, and the failure mode and effect analysis, the design analysis, and the software analysis. So on the 3D printing, so as you can see, this is the result, the upper and lower die, and the right side is the test print, which represent the gold bracelet itself. So this is the FMEA, or known as failure mode and effect analysis, that we generate from the SolidWorks software, where it gives the report about the FMEA analysis on the upper die. So as you can see, the left one is the upper die volumetric properties, the right one is the material properties of the upper die, and this is the resultant force, fixture name, image, and details. So for the resultant force, we already calculate the based on the calculation punching force that we get earlier. Next is the lot name, image, and details. And this is the von Mises stress study result. And this is the resultant displacement study result. And this is the equivalent strength study result. Okay, so as you can see, this is also the result and discussion from the design analysis. So these are the defect that that have been occurred on during conducting the 3D printing machining. So as you can see, the first picture is the circle inaccuracies on the product, and on the second picture is the layer splitting on the upper die, and the third pictures is the, as you can see, there are a tiny hair which is known as stringing or oozing that produced on the test print or on the gold bracelet. Okay, next, this is also another type of defect, which is the blobs and the zits on the upper die, and also some dimensional error on the lower die. So for the software analysis, we can compare that the left one is the for the parameter setup for the standard quality, and the middle one is the dynamic quality, and the third one is the super quality. So each of these quality have their own advantages and disadvantages. If you use the standard quality, it may low in time taken, low in the usage of the filament, but if you but the quality is just nice. But for the super quality, you can get a nice product, a nice result, but it will take more times, and it will use more filament to produce the end product. Okay, so in conclusion, overall, the gold bracelet stamping die design development project was a success, and it has been proven that the proposed technology can be used to create a gold bracelet stamping die. The finding and the analysis cover the entire process of making gold bracelet stamping die. As a result, it lays the groundwork for the upcoming project. So for the recommendation, first one is to conduct research into additional gold bracelet manufacturing in order to broaden the design of the gold bracelet stamping dies. And second one is to conduct further research into the development of gold bracelet stamping die in order to experiment with a wider range of manufacturing methods. The third one is to switch to another piece of material to see whether there are any ramifications to the error. And the fourth final one is to develop a large number of gold bracelet stamping die prototypes in order to attract more manufacturers. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you.